Hey guys, this is SonicRules831, and in today's video, it's going to be something a little different. So, some of you might recall that Griffdawg recently had a send-off stream, and he also encouraged people to work on different what-ifs and all that. So, I decided to make my own hypothetical scenario of what I think would have happened in What If Dale Earnhardt Was Still Alive, going from 2017 all the way to today, 2020. So I will cover that here, and I will have a little announcement at the end of this video as well. Keep this in mind, I'm not using NR 2003 as much in this video. I will probably use it for visual purposes, but in this case, this is more of a discussion and something that's more hypothetical, taking from what happened in that universe, comparing it to what happened here, so on and so forth. So, if you're a little confused by everything, I will leave a link in the description down below to the playlist for What If Dale Earnhardt Was Still Alive by Griffdawg. Once again, this is a big thank you and a big dedication to him, and I figured I would make my own take of what I think would have happened after 2016, and I hope other people also come up with stuff like this. I like to see what they come up with, so feel free to agree or disagree, and let's go ahead and start a discussion. So we will begin in 2017. The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series is now the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series. The only exception there being, if you remember, starting in 2016, there is no playoffs, no stages, none of that. Just race 1 or race 36, and race 36, whoever is leading the points after that race is crowned the champion. Martin Truex Jr. does come in as the defending champion in this timeline. And so I will start with going over every single silly season change that has happened. Next, I will go through who wins the Daytona 500, and then who wins all the races for that year, and then I will tell you who the champion is and why I picked that driver to be champion. I won't necessarily go through standings per se, since this is more just hypothetical and all that, so feel free to interpret your own idea of the standings, potentially. That's completely up to you. So, starting with 2017, here are some silly season changes. So, just like in real life, Ty Dillon does replace Casey Mears in the number 13 Geico Chevrolet at Germain Racing. Next, we have the 16 at Roush Fenway Racing. Of course, Greg Biffle retired at the end of 2016. Rookie Chris Buescher will be taking over the number 16 Kellogg's Ford now at Roush Fenway Racing. Obviously, Jeff Gordon raced an extra year in this timeline. He retired at the end of 2016, and as stated in What If Dale Earnhardt Was Still Alive, Chase Elliott will still take over the 24 in this timeline. So next we have Go Fast Racing. Bobby Labonte steps away from full-time racing, and I decided to put Corey LaJoie here a little bit early than in real life. JTG Daugherty Racing, despite not picking up Chris Buescher, they do still open a second car. This driver was running for Roush's Xfinity program at the time, and there was just clearly no room for him to move up. So with that being said, Ryan Reed is a 2017 rookie in this timeline. He will drive the second JTG Daugherty car, teammates to AJ Allmendinger. By the way, I do have an answer for Casey Mears. I'm going to assume that Brian Scott retires after 2016 like in real life. With that being said, Love's Travel Stops will move over to sponsor the new number 44 at Richard Petty Motorsports, and Casey Mears will take over that ride, teammates to Eric Almirola. The only other change that I can tell you is that Eric Jones also goes to a second Furniture Row car, just like in real life. That just about covers all of the silly season changes for 2017. So I'll go ahead and tell you who wins the Daytona 500. The winner of the 2017 Daytona 500 is Dale Earnhardt Jr. This is his second Daytona 500 in this timeline. He won it in 2002, and he wins it again in 2017 in the number 8 with Richard Childress Racing. I picked Dale Earnhardt Jr. to win the Daytona 500 because, well, come on, I just figured I'd give him a second Daytona 500 just like in real life, and I also have a little story behind this. So you know how in 2016, Jeffrey Earnhardt won the Daytona 500 with help from Dale Earnhardt Jr.? Well, the same exact thing happens, but it's opposite. Dale Earnhardt Jr. gets a little help from Jeffrey Earnhardt, and he will win the Daytona 500. I do apologize, I just like going for a little bit of a storyline as well. So, that does it for the Daytona 500. I'll go ahead and show you the list of winners for the 2017 NASCAR Cup season. So I have the 2017 Monster Energy NASCAR Cup champion being David Stremme for Roush Fenway Racing. In this timeline, David Stremme is a pure GOAT who has yet to win a championship, but has won many races in this timeline and 3 Daytona 500s in 2007, 2010, and 2014. While Martin Truex Jr. had a strong year like his championship year in 2016, consistency was the name of the game for David Stremme, and basically going into the final race at Homestead, you had a championship battle just like 2011 in our timeline between Tony Stewart and Carl Edwards. Essentially, that's what happens between David Stremme and Martin Truex Jr. David Stremme was able to make a late pass with under 10 laps to go by Martin Truex Jr., and he was able to secure the championship by a tiebreaker. David Stremme is now a NASCAR Cup champion. Moving into 2018, here are the following silly season moves. Ryan Blaney still goes over to a 3rd Penske car. Despite the fact that Penske is a Dodge team in this timeline, Roger Penske was eyeing Ryan Blaney for the longest time. So, Ryan Blaney moves from the number 21 Wood Brothers Ford to the new number 12 Menards Dodge at Team Penske. So what does that mean for the 21 car? Well, Ryan Blaney was able to give a good word for his friend Darrell Wallace Jr., who has been running in the NASCAR Xfinity Series for Roush Fenway Racing. With that being said, Bubba Wallace will take over the number 21 for the Wood Brothers. He will run for Rookie of the Year in 2018. Also, Eric Jones replaces Matt Kenseth in the number 20, and instead of stepping away, Matt Kenseth moves to the 2nd Furniture Row car because he was able to bring some sponsorship and the team was able to continue running. Kenseth is teammates with Martin Truex Jr. And lastly, this one you may call me crazy for, but I felt like it would have made sense. After the 2017 season, and after Harry Scott Jr., the owner of H. Scott Motorsports, passed away, the team was acquired by Rick Ware Racing. Again, you may think I'm crazy, but in this timeline, Rick Ware actually has a pretty decent team to work with in the Dodge camp. You got Justin Allgaier in the 51, Carl Edwards is still in the 52. So I forgot to mention that. Carl Edwards does not retire yet in this timeline. He does continue to race after 2016. I have Cody Ware replacing Dakota Armstrong in the 53 because I feel like Rick Ware probably would have done that. It's not all doom and gloom for Dakota Armstrong. I do have him moving down to a top team in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. With that being said, let's go ahead and go over the race winners for 2018, starting with the Daytona 500, which was won by Ryan Blaney. In a timeline where there's no stage racing, things got intense with under 10 laps to go, but Ryan Blaney was able to hold him off and win in his first race with Team Penske and win the Daytona 500. Already a promising young star for the future. And here are the rest of the race winners for 2018. The most dominant drivers for 2018 ended up being Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr., among a couple others like Jeffrey Earnhardt. But finally, Kevin Harvick has a season to remember, and with all the wins he got and the consistency that he had, he was able to clinch the 2018 Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Championship over Kyle Busch. Some silly season moves being made for 2019 goes as followed. The first one starts in the Hendrick camp. William Byron is a rookie in the number 5 Liberty University Chevrolet, replacing Casey Kane. Casey Kane lasted one extra year at Hendrick Motorsports, and I think William Byron is more prepared for Cup than he was in real life, and he's ready to hit the ground running. As for Dale Earnhardt Jr., you have noticed he does not retire after 2017 with the success he had, and I assume his concussions did not happen. happen. However, Dale Earnhardt Jr. has announced that 2019 will be his final season as a full-time Cup Series driver. He still runs Junior Motorsports in the Xfinity Series and will be focusing on that, being in the NBC Sports booth, as well as helping out at RCR with his father, Dale Earnhardt. Also, Daniel Suarez replaces Trevor Bayne in the number 9 at Roush Racing. I haven't really thought much about what would happen to Bayne. Perhaps he could just step out of racing completely, or maybe make some part-time runs in the Truck Series. Tony Stewart retires at the end of 2018. If you recall, he signed himself on for 3 more years, which lasted him through 2018, and then he called it a career. Man, I keep forgetting to make other quick notes. Stewart House Racing also switched to Ford in 2017. My bad, guys. So here's what changes at Stewart Haas. Ryan Truex is still with the team, but he will be moved over to the number 14 ride, making room for rookie Cole Custer. Cole Custer will take over the number 41 a year sooner than in real life. It'll be interesting to see how he will do with the Cup Stars. JTG Daugherty Racing has a complete new look in 2019, with rookies Daniel Hemrick and Ryan Preece taking over the 37 and 47 cars, respectively. Casey Kane moves over to race for Levine Family Racing in the number 95, and the team does switch to Toyota. The last thing to talk about is something silly that I thought about and decided to incorporate here in this timeline. So, there was a story during the summer of 2018 that GMS Racing was actually looking to buy out Furniture Row Racing. And, well, the talks pretty much fell short afterwards and it never happened. So what if it did happen here? Instead, GMS teams up with Barney Visser to form Gallagher Visser Racing. Okay, you can laugh at me, but again, I'm just having fun with this and it's all hypothetical, so feel free to disagree with me. Matt Kenseth is still in the number 78. He's got a new sponsor, or I should say he moves over to the 78 and he's got a sponsor in Coors Light. Yes, Martin Truex Jr. still moves to the 19 at JGR. The 77 also stays intact with Spencer Gallagher, who never had the issues after his Talladega win. He moves up to the Cup Series full-time with Allegiant and ISM backing him. Gallagher Visser Racing is also a Toyota team. For this Daytona 500, I kept it the same, with Denny Hamlin winning the Daytona 500, and here are the rest of the race winners for 2019. Something that has been long overdue, I decided to have Kyle Busch win the 2019 champion just like in real life. Late in the season, he goes on a hot streak of wins and consistent finishes that would go on to help him to secure the 2019 championship. Here we are in present day 2020 for what if Dale Earnhardt was still alive. Let's take a look at the silly season. Of course, the big one being the number 8 at Richard Childress Racing. Dale Earnhardt Jr. retires from full-time racing and is replaced by rookie sensation Tyler Reddick. He's got some big shoes to fill, but he's ready to make a statement in the NASCAR Cup Series in 2020. Next, you might recall that Johnny Davis Motorsports, JDM, had a Cup team in his timeline. After quite a while in the number 46 with Michael Annett behind the wheel, Johnny Davis decides that he's going to sell off his Cup team and focus more on his Xfinity program to help develop young drivers. He goes ahead and sells this team to Colleague Racing. Colleague Racing will move up to the Cup circuit for 2020. The ride will be split between AJ Allmendinger, Justin Haley, who is prepping for a possible Rookie of the Year campaign in 2021, and Ross Chastain. And we'll get to Chastain here in just a little bit. The next one involves BK Racing. Yes, BK Racing is still intact as a race team in 2020, and they are still with Toyota. This entire time, Matt DiBenedetto is still behind the wheel of the 83. He has been pushing good finishes in that car and has come close to winning multiple times. As you saw, I listed him winning the Fall Bristol race in 2019. David Reagan has also been in the 23 up until this point. He retires at the end of 2019 and is replaced by rookie Brandon Jones. Now you're probably wondering why I picked Brandon Jones. It's simply because BK Racing needed a driver in the TRD camp, and they went with a driver who brings in a lot of funding. Obviously, Brandon Jones is a big example of a driver who brings sponsorship. So with that, he moves up to the Cup Series in 2020. Cody Ware decides to step away from full-time Cup racing and focus more on his sports car racing that he does now. The 53 is taken over by Brendan Poole. In this timeline, he was with Ganassi for a while and was with another Dodge Xfinity team. Now, Brendan Poole is a rookie in the Cup Series and is hoping he can make a statement. Also in the Rick Ware camp, Carl Edwards has announced he will retire at the end of 2020. Meanwhile, at Gallagher Visser Racing, Spencer Gallagher still pilots the number 77, and Matt Kenseth steps aside from the 78. He retires from full-time racing, and Brett Moffitt will take over the number 78. A few more notable changes. John Hunter Nemechek replaces Jimmy McMurray in the number 8 McDonald's Ford for Robert Yates Racing. McMurray retires at the end of 2019, and Casey Kane also retires at the end of 2019. Christopher Bell will take over the 95 and also run for Rookie of the Year. And obviously, the current pandemic that's going on right now unfortunately still occurs here in this timeline, and Kyle Larson does that big no-no. I think a lot of you are aware of that. So here's what happens. After Kyle Larson is let go, and he goes through sensitivity training, of course, Ross Chastain takes over the number 42. Now, those races that he was supposed to drive Colleagues Cup car in, Matt Kenseth will now drive those races. He is a veteran presence that can help get the team ready for a full-time Cup campaign in 2021 with Justin Haley. Plus, Kenseth could make a good mentor for Haley as well. Oh, and just a side note, one thing I did forget. Michael McDowell replaces Casey Mears after 2018. So in 2019, McDowell goes to the 44 RPM. The 2020 season kicked off with a bang as Ryan Newman, still driving for Richard Childress Racing, edged out Ryan Blaney and Denny Hamlin in a 3-wide photo finish at the line that gave Newman his first win since 2017 and his first Daytona 500 win. The next week, Joey Logano wins at Las Vegas, Alex Bowman wins at Auto Club for Chip Ganassi, and rookie Tyler Reddick ends up pulling off a stunning victory at Phoenix. And of course, this was the last race weekend until the pandemic broke out. As we all know, on May 17th, as of right now anyway, NASCAR will return with 2 races at Darlington and 2 races at Charlotte. As of me recording this video, we don't know what the rest of the schedule will look like, so I went off of what I saw in Racing Reference. This may change later on, and the schedule may look irrelevant at this point, but I figured I'm going to go ahead and roll with it. So I will show you who wins those first 4 races back, and then the rest of 2020, as if NASCAR was able to get the rest of the season going, probably having no fans in attendance. So in the first race back on May 17th, 2020, there was a sign of hope. As millions across the nation watched, Jeffrey Earnhardt would go on to win at Darlington. The second Darlington race was won by Denny Hamlin. William Byron got his first career win at the Coca-Cola 600, and Matt DiBenedetto gets his 3rd career win at the other Charlotte race. With that being said, here are the rest of the winners for 2020. This season would be interesting, and there are quite a few title contenders going into the final race at Phoenix, as Jimmy Johnson took the checkered flag to win the race. Finishing in second behind him was probably one of the most memorable championship victories in recent memory. That's right, I have Jeffrey Earnhardt winning the 2020 NASCAR Cup Championship. It didn't come easy, but Jeffrey got the job done, and he joins his grandfather, who has 7 championships, his uncle, who got 3. He joins them both to establish the Earnhardt name as the most legendary family name in NASCAR. If you want a full rundown on all the silly season and the race winners and everything, I will have a Google Sheet posted that you can look at in the description at any time. So that's just simply my take on what I think would have happened in this universe from 2017 to now 2020. I would like to go into the future. It would be kind of fun to speculate, but as of right now, I will stop here at 2020. So I know this video is running a little long. I do have one quick announcement to make.
I've come to make an announcement.
No, Eggman, not that kind of announcement. Anyway, some of you may recall I posted a video almost a year ago now about making a collaborative One More Spark-like project that Griffdawg made. I always explored the possibility of making an alternate universe with Earnhardt 2003. Well, I'm happy to say, thanks to some really good friends in Jetman999, Ferris, and Left Guy, aka Noah Sweet, I'm happy to announce that I am bringing back a scrapped project called Sunday Night Lights, and it's going to be different than the original idea I had. And essentially, we got a lot of ideas, a lot of storylines that we want to cover. I won't say too much right now, but I will start with an introductory video and a prologue, and I will give you this. We do start in 1981, and the prologue will cover from 1981 to 1986. With that being said, I will give you guys a progress update on that right off the bat. 1981 through 1985 is complete. All the races have been simmed, they're done, and champions have been crowned. The 1986 Busch Series, as of this recording, is also done. So I just need the Cup and IROC Series to take care of. And after that, I will begin working on a prologue. Something involved in that project will most likely be my next video on this channel. We've been working hard on this project for a while now. This is why I haven't really made a lot of videos. We really think that you guys will enjoy it as we move forward with it. I don't have a release date yet for anything, so just follow my Twitter, follow Ferris and Left Guy as well. I would say Jet, but unfortunately he does not have a Twitter. Besides that, that's all I really wanted to say on that. That was the big announcement. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was just me talking, which is kind of boring. But again, I wanted to do this for Griff because of all the hard work he did, and a lot of people loved what he put together. If you haven't seen his work, check out his channel. I'll leave a link to that in the description down below as well. Without further ado, that's going to go ahead and wrap things up for this video. Stay tuned for Sunday Night Lights. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm SonicRules831, and I will see you in the next video.